Max. So let's slowly transition into normal talking voice for the rest of this video so my ASMR doesn't upset you. But it will be at the end of the video. Let's head outside.
It's nighttime now, which happens way too early in Canada. It's 4:55 and it's dark out, which is good for low light tests. So today I'm hanging out with my friend, I am Patrick T, who used to be all about Twitter, but now is a YouTuber. He's a photographer, he's a filmmaker, and he does great stuff with mobile cameras. I actually got the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and I thought I'd just throw it into his hands and get a live reaction to see what he thinks. So let's do it. Patrick, boom.
It's honestly so much bigger than you think it's going to be the first time you hold it. Really a big phone, but hopefully the big is worth it if the camera makes up for it.
Sweet. Well, let's test it out. We're gonna do photo and video today, and just go through a bunch of tests. All right. So the first test that we're gonna be doing is a low light stabilization test.
So the cool thing on the 12 Pro Max is that the main wide camera has sensor shift stabilization now, which you're probably similar to on the A7S III or a Canon R5, where the sensor itself is actually stabilizing the image. So it should be a huge jump in stability from the regular 12 and the 12 Pro.
Our next test is very basic. We're just gonna compare the video quality at 4K 24 frames a second for every single camera on the 12 Pro Max.
I'm pretty sure we're not gonna see a huge difference on the telephoto or the ultra wide from previous generations, but the main camera has that new bigger sensor and f1.6 aperture. So if you're looking closely, that's where we should see the most improvements in low light. So one thing we are noticing while we're doing these tests is that all three lenses are still flaring quite considerably. So when you are shooting stuff like street cars or street lights or anything with a light source, you will see a lot of small, tiny dots in your footage. Another good thing about the bigger sensor on the main camera, not only does it let in more light, it also allows for more bokeh. So when you're shooting at night or if you're shooting during the day, if you have subjects that are close to the lens, you are gonna see some fairly nice bokeh balls, especially for a phone. So you might know this or you might not, but something that Apple does when you're playing with your telephoto lens on the 12 Pro, even the original 11 Pro, when you cover the wide angle lens, you can see that it's been darked out because I'm actually covering the wide angle. But if I switch the 2.5, you can see that it's still covered. That's because Apple wants to use the wide instead of the telephoto because it's a better sensor and it lets in more light. So sometimes you think you're shooting on the tele, but you're actually shooting digital zoom crop on the main wide angle. And that's still happening with the 12 Pro Max.
All right, so before we see our photo examples, I just want to take a quick minute to thank this week's sponsor, CANVA. I'm a huge fan of CANVA when it comes to my design needs, mainly because they have an iPhone app where I can design things like this. Grabbed one of their templates, changed the text, added one of my car photos. They had some graphics there. I'm not much of a designer, but like, could have fooled you, right? If you guys want to try CANVA Pro and have access to over 70 million photos, 2.5 million videos, and 4.5 million graphics to tell the story that you need to move your audience, you guys can go and try CANVA Pro in the links below for 45 days for free. So go and check it out. You could be the next pro designer by clicking the links below. Do it. Click it. Try the app.
All right, so we just saw a lot of the video capabilities in low light. Right now we're gonna make a shift over to the photo side. And one of the things that I'm particularly most excited about is the super wide angle lens now has night mode. So let's see some of the tests between all those lenses. The wide actually looks like legit.
Yeah, the wide portrait mode at night is probably the dopest of all three.
All right, so we're gonna be doing a deep fusion test right now. So the things that you're gonna be wanting to look out for are details, textures, all those things. So the details we're gonna be looking at are my shoes. We're gonna do one more example of the night mode on the super wide camera. When we were at the other location, there was just like a lot more light. Here, we've kind of gone on the outskirts of the city down by the waterfront where it's a lot darker. I wanna show you the difference by placing the camera on a tripod. 5-second exposure, super wide. It's actually pretty surprising, the result. final thoughts on this phone. I have 2 reasons why this is gonna be my new daily driver. Number 1, there's raw capabilities coming to this camera in the next couple of months that I'm very, very excited for. And as a professional photographer, to have raw available is absolutely huge because we don't always carry our cameras on us. And to have the ability to be able to take the best quality photo in terms of mobile photography is huge to me. So that's number 1. Number 2, I actually like the screen real estate and the size. I've been used to the 11 Pro Max, so for me, this sits in the hand nicely. I also don't really like using tablets that much personally, so to have the large screen to be able to watch movies and photos and films and just use this as my everything in life type of device, I like that. So this is gonna be my new phone moving forward. Patrick, thoughts?
For me, I'm actually currently using the 12 Pro, not the Max. I actually think the 12 Pro Max is a little bit too big for me. I'm someone who does a lot of street photography, so I really like compact cameras. And I think creatively, I will do more with a smaller phone, even though technically it is slightly inferior than the Pro Max. The good thing is, all of these cameras are so good now, so if you want the 12 Mini, the 12 Pro, or the regular 12, or the Pro Max, you really can't make a bad decision. And Chris is right, if you want a bigger screen, better battery life, the Pro Max is definitely the way to go. For me, size doesn't always matter.
No, size absolutely matters. What are you talking about?
It's what you do with the phone. It's not, you know, it's not the size of the phone, it's what you do with the phone.
Before we do a really awkward outro, please subscribe to Patrick. He's a gem. Also, like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for future videos. I have a quick thought for a second. How amazing is it that this is in our pocket? Do you know what people had to carry around originally? This. They had to carry this around to capture memories. Imagine being at a party and you're like, hey everyone, let's take a selfie. Smile. Okay, bye. Please press like, then I can afford a better camera.